As Ken said, we've known each other forever. And in fact, we have the dubious distinction, I think, of being early on in the start of the internet together. Me as a product manager and Ken as a demand generation, customer, marketing manager that did a variety of different things at a very crucial point in time and in a great company, Netscape Communications. A little bit about my background, as I just said, I've been in this business for 30 plus years and started out originally as a programmer and then moved into product marketing, which is where I did a lot of my work. But over a period of time, worked in a variety of different roles, many of them in marketing, some of them in sales. I'll sort of summarize it as Ken is saying, sort of like I look at it as three main areas that I think of myself and my expertise in. The first one is obviously, having grown up on the internet, really as a product manager at Netscape in the early days. And then after I left Netscape, going to help start a company that was an application that was running on the web. In those days, they were called application service providers. Today, they're called SaaS companies. And the name of that company was Responses. And so just sort of like building on those technologies to create applications. In this case, it was an application for marketers. So another area of my some level of expertise is marketing automation and marketing technologies. Responses was probably one of the first business to consumer marketing companies out there using internet, this email, and a variety of different web technologies to provide that internet experience to business to consumer companies. It became eventually part of Oracle. It's part of the Oracle marketing stack. So I've been a sort of MarTech is a part of what I do, both as a building products for MarTech, as well as, of course, now using MarTech technologies a lot. And of course, the third area is cybersecurity. And that's, Ken, you and I work together at Secure Computing and McAfee, where we did a lot of cybersecurity work. And I have sort of like worked in a variety of different areas of cybersecurity. We were together in network cybersecurity, network security. I've been on the endpoint side of the business also at McAfee, and I've been in the cloud side of the business, having been at Zscaler for a while, and then in the identity business, having been at ForgeRock, which eventually is now part of Ping Identity. And so a lot of different cross sections of the cybersecurity world, which is quite significant in its own right in terms of how broad it is. DigiCert is also a company in the cybersecurity world, but really we call it a trust company. It's in the area of a general area called public key infrastructure. And when I talk to people about public key infrastructure, I often use this with a lot of interview candidates also. I ask them, do you know anything about PKI and do you know anything about digital certificates? And they say, no, I don't know. Maybe, something about certification, certifying people. And then I ask them, have you used DigiCert products in your life? And they go, no, I don't think so. And I say, what if I told you you use a DigiCert product every day, maybe multiple times a day? And then they're quite surprised by that. And I think for all your listeners also, DigiCert is a certificate authority. One of our businesses is called our Public Certificate Authority business. We use this technology called PKI, or Public Key Infrastructure. It's a technology that basically involves, it's used for authentication and it's used for encryption. And it uses some really fascinating mathematics to essentially create public and private keys that can be then used by any website to be able to communicate with everyone else in a secure fashion. The technology itself is quite fascinating. The mathematics is even more fascinating. But if you think about it in its simplest form, when you connect to any e-commerce website, or literally every website these days, you basically start off a secure connection. This used to be known as an SSL connection. Now it's called TLS, Transport Layer Security. And what essentially happens is the first thing that happens is when you connect to that site, say you go to your bank, the first thing that bank does is basically send you a digital certificate that basically is used as an identifier for that bank. It's like a passport. You get that digital certificate, your browser gets it. Your browser already has the public key from DigiCert or some other certificate authority. We're the biggest commercial certificate authority that opens up that certificate and actually verifies that that in fact belongs to the bank in question or the e-commerce site in question, such as Amazon.